but we shared so much that I don't know how to get back. How do I get back? Neal Schon didn't talk about the bandmate who made his life hard behind the scenes of one of rock's biggest hits for 17 years. Now, shocking new information about what really happened in Journey has come to light as the guitarist finally talks about his troubled relationship with pianist Cain. In a recent shocking interview, Schon told Journey fans the truth about the unity front the band has been using for decades. Soon after Cain replaced original member Greg Rowley in Journey in 1980, tensions between the two musicians began to rise. At first, the partnership looked great. Cain's musical skills and Shon's guitar skills worked well together to make some of the band's biggest hits, like Faithfully and Don't Stop Believin'. But Schon says that the happy relationship didn't last long. He said that there was always a fight for power. After Steve Perry left, Jonathan wanted to have more say over how the band went. I made this band happen, but all of a sudden I felt like I had to fight to stay in it. In 2007, things got worse when Schon found Filipino singer Arnel Pineda on YouTube and added him to the band. Even though the move helped Journey's career in the long run, it is said to have made things worse between Journey and Cain. Schon said that Jonathan wasn't sure at first. He wanted to go a different way, but I knew Arnel was the way forward for us. The fight that happened then was just the start of a bigger split. Neal Schon's rise to fame began a long time before his problems with Cain. Schon was born in Oklahoma in 1954, and he has always had a great talent for singing. He was already getting noticed for his guitar skills when he was 15. Someone even asked him to join Eric Clapton's band, but he turned them down. But instead, he joined Santana when he was only 17, becoming one of the group's youngest musicians who has ever played with them. Schon left Santana in 1973 to form Journey with keyboardist Greg Rowley. In the beginning, the band tried to make a progressive rock sound. They put out 3 records that showed off their technical skill but didn't do very well in the music business. When Steve Perry became lead singer in 1978, everything changed. He steered the band toward a more popular sound. Schon remembered how wonderful those early days with Steve were. It felt like we could not be stopped as we worked on something new together. During this time, the band's most popular songs came out, such as Escape 1981 and Frontiers 1983, which cemented Journey's place in rock history. When Jonathan Cain replaced Rowley in 1980, it seemed like this winning formula would get even better. Cain's skill on the piano and his ability to write songs were big parts of Journey's sound. Schon said, "When Jonathan first joined, it was like we'd found the missing piece. We wrote some really great music together. Even though they worked together creatively, there were some deep differences that were starting to show." Herbie Herbert, who used to handle Journey and worked with the band during their most successful years, says that Schon and Cain's different personalities were clear from the start. Neal plays guitar for other guitarists. Herbert said this about him before he died in 2021. "He lives and breathes the instrument and wants the music to show that energy." Jonathan wrote songs in a more organized way, focusing on form and making songs that would sell well. Both ways of doing things have their uses, but they don't always get along. These disagreements were easy to handle when Steve Perry was in the band because he often acted as a go-between and center of attention. But when Perry left Journey in 1998 because of health problems and creative differences, the band's careful balance was thrown off. A longtime team member who worked with the band in the 1990s said, "When Steve left, there was a vacuum." Things really started to go badly when Neal and Jonathan both tried to fill it in different ways. The band went through a number of singers such as Steve Augury and Jeff Scott Soto, but they never quite got back to where they were before. Schon says that this is when Cain started making more business choices without consulting anyone first. Schon told me that when I got to meetings, choices had already been made. Without my opinion, contracts were signed and tour dates were set. You shouldn't act like that in a relationship. Dean Castronova was the drummer for Journey from 1998 to 2015, so he saw many of these fights happen personally. In a separate interview, he acknowledged that there were definitely tensions. There were times when the mood at practice was so tense that you could cut it with a knife. They'd put everything else aside when they played the first riff of Don't Stop Believing. When Arnel Pineda was found in 2007, it was a turning point for the band. Gex Khan found videos of the Filipino singer covering Journey songs on YouTube and was quickly blown away by how well he could imitate Perry's voice while adding his own style. Gex Khan said, "When I found Arnel, it felt like fate. Someone from the other side of the world was a very skilled singer who could give our music new life. I knew right away that Journey needed him. Schon says Cain wasn't sure if he wanted to bring in a singer from the Philippines that no one knew. Schon said that Jonathan was worried about Arnell's accent, his stage presence, and whether American crowds would like him. The risk paid off in a big way. Pinaida's addition to Journey made tours go well. The band became famous again, and their album Revelation became the most popular album in years. That came out at number 5 on the Billboard 200. But it looks like this success didn't make things better between Schon and Cain. If anything, it made it stronger. Schon said that people were angry that I had found Arnell and been right about him. It did not bring us closer, instead, it made us farther apart. People who used to be on the group have come forward with stories that back up what Schon is saying. One person talked about a very heated argument that happened behind closed doors during their 2011 Eclipse tour. The argument was about the setlist and reportedly got physical. A source said that Neal and Jonathan were yelling at each other. Things were knocked over, and tools were broken. The rest of the band walked away until things calmed down. Another source talked about something that happened in 2015. When Cain reportedly changed the arrangements of several songs without asking Schon first, which caused chaos during practice and almost caused the show to fail. The person said Neal was furious. Even though he tried to hide it for the crowd, you could see it on his face. The most damaging news is about how much money the band has. Schon says Cain is trying to stop him from getting into Journey's business accounts, that they make decisions without consulting anyone first. Schon said, I started this band and all of a sudden I couldn't even see our bank records. I knew something was very wrong at that point. Schon and Cain went to court against each other in 2020 over using the band's name and getting to financial records. This made the fight public. According to court records, Schon said Cain set up an American Express card through Journey's entertainment company without telling him, and then making it hard for him to use the card. Schon said it wasn't about the money. It was about being honest and showing respect. You should be able to have a say in how something is run after building it for almost 50 years. The most shocking thing Schon said was that their political differences had made things even worse between them. Cain's marriage to televangelist Paula White, who was a spiritual advisor to former President Donald Trump, seems to have caused problems between the two ideologies that affected how the band worked. Journey has never been about politics, it's always been about the music. Schon said that things got bad when that line became fuzzy. The fight got really bad when Cain was accused of booking shows under the Journey name without Schon's knowledge or permission. One of these shows was at a political event at Mar-a-Lago in 2017. Schon said that went too far. Journey's music is for everyone, not just one political group or cause. Steve Smith and Ross Valerie, two longtime Journey members who played bass and drums, were stuck in the middle of this relationship that was getting worse. In 2020, Schon and Cain briefly worked together to sue Valerie Smith, saying that he and his friends had tried to take over the Journey name in a bad thought-out business coup d'etat. Valerie and Smith were finally kicked out of the band. A mechanic who worked with Journey at the time said it was like seeing your parents fight. Ross and Steve had been with Journey almost from the start, but all of a sudden they left because Neal and Jonathan couldn't work out their own problems. This situation made things strange because Schon and Cain kept working together even though they hated each other very much. A tour manager who worked with the band in 2019 said that they would talk to each other through middlemen. Even if they were only 10 feet apart backstage, they wouldn't talk to each other directly. Instead, their assistants would pass information between them. Cain, on the other hand, has taken a more cautious stance and has only made brief comments through representatives. A spokesperson for Jonathan said that he thinks these issues should be dealt with personally, not in the news. He is still dedicated to Journey's history and its fans. Cain did talk about some of the claims in his 2018 autobiography, Don't Stop Believin', The Man, The Band, and the song that I inspired generations, but he was very quiet when criticizing Schon. He wrote that every band has fights. The music we made together and the millions of people it has touched are what matter. Even after these discoveries, Journey has still been able to tour successfully. Fans mostly don't know about the drama going on behind the scenes because both musicians have kept a professional air during shows. Schon said that when we were on stage, the music always came first. It didn't matter how bad things were behind the scenes, it never affected the shows. The fans deserve better. The band's bond with Steve Perry, their former lead singer, made things even more complicated. Schon says that disagreements about how to respect Perry's memory and whether to try to get back together with him caused even more trouble. Schon said, "I always wanted to leave the door open for Steve. Jonathan looked like he was more set on moving on. That basic difference in point of view affected almost every choice we made." Longtime fans have said that those who paid close attention could see signs of the strife. Both and Cain stood on opposite sides of the stage during some shows and rarely looked at each other. They often said different things in interviews about the band's future plans and artistic direction. One very important moment happened in 2017 when Journey was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. People who saw the scene said that while Schon and Perry hugged warmly, their interactions with Cain seemed tense and stiff. One person who saw the event said, "That wasn't just awkwardness. Even at a time when they should have been proud of each other, you could feel the strain between them." A sound tech, who used to work with the band on their 2016 to 2017 tour, said that everyone backstage was walking on eggshells. He remembered that there were separate stalls, separate arriving times, and separate everything else. Neal and Jonathan were only in the same room together when they were performing. "The place where I worked was the weirdest I've ever seen. Sources close to the band say that the feud's effect on Arnold Pineda is the saddest thing about it." A crew member who worked on more than one tour said that Arnell just wants everyone to get along. "He got into a mess he didn't make and has tried to make peace. The stress of it makes him feel bad." Pineda has mostly stayed out of the controversy, focusing on his shows and saying how thankful he is to lead the legendary band. But sources say he's often in the middle of fights between Schon and Cain. Sometimes you can see it in his eyes. The fight has also stopped the band from making new music. Since Pineda joined in 2007, Journey has only put out 2 albums with original songs, Revelation, 2008, and Eclipse, 2011. Schon says that disagreements about the direction of the music have made it hard for them to work together on new songs. "We have different ideas about how Journey should sound in the present day." Schon said that Jonathan has his own thoughts. "It's getting harder and harder to find shared ground." Journey put out their first record in over 10 years in 2022, called Freedom. But the recording process was said to have been broken up, with Schon and Cain working alone and talking to each other through producers and engineers. A studio worker who worked on the record said, "It's not the best way to make music. They got it to work though." But that shows how much they care about Journey, even if not about each other. Journey keeps selling out stadiums around the world, no matter what. The band just released new tour dates, which makes it seem like Schon and Cain can work together, if not get along personally. Schon said, "We found a way to make it work. The magic we make when we play together will last even if we never become friends again." Music critics have said that the band's lasting success